What's up, Interizers? This is Juan Cruz, and today we're gonna explore 7 methods to quickly get out of a rut and motivate yourself again. Everyone at some point in their lives experience ruts. You might have been very productive, kicking ass, crushing it at work, going to the gym, being social, but slowly you notice a weird mood creeping in. I'm talking about that feeling of being stuck, that life is not as engaging as before, and motivation cannot be found anywhere you look. When your friends ask you how's everything going, you said okay, but really it's meh. You know what I'm talking about. It's those times when your creative juices are not flowing, you are not looking forward to your future, and the only thing that awaits you is the same day over and over again. Kinda like the edge of tomorrow, but with less aliens, cool swords, and of course, without Emil Blunt. I know, pretty disappointing, right? Cool! So before going into the tips, I want to disclaim that I'm not a professional psychologist. I'm just a regular dude sharing what he learned and works for him. So without further ado, let's explore 7 ways to quickly get out of a rut and reclaim your motivation so you can achieve your stuff, conquer the world, and destroy your enemies. The Inertia Principle. If you paid attention on your physics class, you're probably familiar with the principle of inertia. I'm talking about the resistance of objects to any change in its motion and direction. That's why when you're driving a car and brake, your body goes forward. But this principle doesn't apply only to physical objects. It also exists in your mind and psychology. Our minds, just as balls and cars and people, are going in a direction and have a sort of motion. These are our habitual feelings, thoughts, moods, and behaviors. That's why it's so difficult for us to change moods and habits in a whim, because they have a sort of inertia on their own and won't change without an outside force, just like physical objects. So, what's the best way to deal with this principle? The strategy is twofold. The first one is not to fight with the rut. It will be very difficult to completely get out of a rut in minutes because it already has an inertia within you. So the best way to counteract it is little by little until it doesn't have a force on their own and it stops. With this method, you will start with simple and easy things you can accomplish that helps you achieve that momentum and opposite inertia. Perhaps this is taking a shower or going for a 10-minute walk, brushing your teeth, swiping your butt. Hope you're doing it often though. Or turning on your computer, not to play League of Legends of course. Whatever it works for you to get that metaphorical ball rolling. Once you get that motivation tank a bit filled, you can start going to the gym, being productive again, going out, meeting friends, and so on. Notice that if there's no fuel in your motivation tank or no inertia in your productivity ball, these behaviors will be very difficult to accomplish. By starting small, you build the necessary fuel or inertia to take on bigger and more demanding projects and actions. And this is all accomplished by using and understanding the inertia principle and making it work on your favor rather than against us. A key thing to remember here is not to underestimate the power of small changes and 1% improvements. If you want to learn more, click on this card. Strategy number 2. Don't be too harsh on yourself, you asshole. This is the thing I need to remember to myself constantly. I always set high standards for myself, that I need to go to the gym X times a week, I should write the scripts in X days, I should not eat junk food, and much more. And when I don't perform or measure as I was expecting, I criticize myself, which make the situation worse. By admitting and accepting that we are in a rut, instead of fighting against it, it's much easier to get out. Because see, fighting with ourselves in these types of situation is like finding ourselves in a hole, and instead of trying to get out, we dig deeper and deeper. When we criticize ourselves, when we condemn our moods and behaviors, we are not making the situation better. We are feeding the fire that's keeping us stuck in the first place. Do you get it? But once we accept how we feel and what we do, we're in a much better position to change, which leads us to the third strategy, the I enjoy it strategy. This goes hand in hand with the don't be too harsh on yourself you asshole strategy, and you'll see why. But before, I want to give you a very important tip that will change your life in 5 seconds. Don't you believe me? Are you ready? Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I know, you didn't expect it, right? Anyways, let's go on. So if you're in a rut, you're most likely not enjoying feeling and behaving that way. If that's the case, there are 2 different dynamics going on inside of you right now. The first one is the fact that you're in a rut and not motivated, and the second one is the fact that you don't like being in a rut. And of course, you don't want to be in a rut. That's the definition of being in one. But what if you change your disposition about it? What if instead of fighting against it, You enjoy it. I'm not kidding. See what happens when you enjoy feeling unmotivated or lazy or bored. If you've done it, do it. You'll notice something kind of weird happening. When you accept and enjoy feeling how you feel right now, the rut loses its grip on you because you're not feeding it anymore. It loses its purpose. If you truly enjoy what you're now experiencing, there's no reason for you to be in a rut in the first place. Look, perhaps this doesn't make any sense until you try it. That's why it's important for you to experience it for yourself. I made a video specifically for this so you can watch it here. The do it anyway principle. When we see people on YouTube or famous actors and actresses, successful businessmen and great musicians, we probably think to ourselves, how these people have so much motivation and never feel down or are unproductive. In a way, we idolize them and create a mental image of relentless productive machines that don't even sleep to accomplish more than the rest.
I'll be back.
But this is not at all true. We are all human beings and we go through the same stuff. But there's one difference, one big difference between them and us, and it's this one. They're subscribed to this channel. Apart from that, the big difference is that they don't care how they feel. Yeah, you heard me right. They don't care how they feel. They could be feeling down, they could be in a rut, they could be unmotivated, but you know what? They do it anyways. And that's why this principle is called that way. The do it now principle rests on the premise that action isn't always precluded by feeling. To put it in other words, you don't need to feel motivated to take action. Recalling the being in the hole analogy, we don't need to feel motivated to start trying to escape. We just do it. In the same way, don't wait for your feelings to change to take some positive action. You'll notice that just by taking action, the feeling will follow. Strategy number 5 is questioning the rut to death. To make sense of this strategy, I want us to explore emotion through a perspective that's not usually seen. Culturally, we believe that emotions are something that happens to us. Some external event causes us to feel a certain way, our dog died and we feel sad, we win a match in Fortnite and we feel happy, we receive a cute text from our boyfriends or girlfriends, and we feel loved and so on. But what if I propose that emotions are something that we generate, mostly unconsciously, to deal and respond to different situations? I mean, it makes sense. That's why people react and feel differently to the same event. Each individual interprets the situation in a specific light that makes them feel that way. Interesting stuff, you're probably thinking. But how this relates to being stuck in a rut? And that's where we're going. So if we are saying that we generate the emotion, at least unconsciously, based on how we interpret the situation or life or ourselves, then we must begin to ask the question, how am I interpreting the situation so it makes me feel like I'm in a rut? Why do I feel this way? What is it that I'm holding as true in this situation? By making such questions, we open up to the possibility of uncovering the source of the rut, and we are much more capable of getting free of it altogether. The 6th strategy is create a brighter future. If you think about it long and hard, being in a rut is in part a result of not being motivated. So, why are we not motivated? It is because we have nothing to work on, to expect and to look forward. I mean, how could you not be motivated if you're about to go on a cool vacation to the Caribbean or if you're working on something that truly inspires you? How could you not go to the gym if you wake up every day imagining how fit you'll be? So basically, cool future equals motivation equals no rut. If you want to get out of a rut, envision a better future for yourself. Perhaps look for another job that moves you more, start planning moving to another city, search for images in Google and create a vision board, start doing daily affirmations and visualizations and so on. So in a nutshell, create a better future that motivates you. You can go here to learn more about it. And the last and perhaps the most powerful strategy of all is nothing is dull when you are present. If you think about it, you'll realize that another component of being in a rut and being unmotivated is that everything feels like more of the same.
It's the same routine of waking up at 8 AM, having the same cup of coffee, taking the bus and going to work, doing the same repetitive tasks over and over again, coming back home, doing gym, come back home, sleep, and repeat.
It feels like you're being bored with life, that you had enough and there's nothing new and captivating about it, that you've seen it all and you don't want it anymore. So, what can you do about it? We're getting there. You surely took vacation somewhere for the first time. Perhaps you went skiing or the mountains or the beach. Every walk you took, every dinner you had, every adventure you explored were full of enthusiasm and energy because, of course, it was something new. something you never experienced before. It had that unfamiliar component all over it. But then you come back to your usual routine and find the same shit you experienced before. Oh, surprise! You find it boring. And how could you not? But how could you? What if I told you that your own unconscious mind mechanisms are working against you to feel that way? Each time you perceive something for the first time, an object, a feeling, a sensation, a place, or a person, your mind is attentive and absorbing as much information as it can. But as the time goes by, your mind becomes familiar with it and mentally labels it as known. And in doing so, it takes the newness out of the person, thing, feeling, or place. It's not relevant for you anymore, so you dismiss it. What's really happening here is that you're replacing the actual thing with a crust of concepts you created based on past experiences of the thing. I know this may sound like crazy shit, but give it a try. Right now, grab some object and look at it. It can be like a blue bottle or whatever. But here's the catch. I want you to look at it as you were seeing the thing for the first time, like an innocent child that's exploring the world. Be aware of the numerous mental labels and concepts you add to the thing and throw them away. Just for a little bit. Pay attention on the shape, how the light interacts with it, how it feels in the hand, how much it weighs, and so on. If you haven't done it, go back and do it. I'm watching you. Do it, do it, do it! If you've done this short exercise, you'll realize that by throwing away what you think about the thing, it recovers that aliveness component that it once had. All of a sudden, it's a new experience. But now, imagine extrapolating this to your daily life, from brushing your teeth to going to the gym, taking the train and speaking with your high school friends. Everything, every situation, object, activity can recover that novelness that it once had. Pretty mind-blowing, right? How could you be in a rut with a mindset like this? Can you see it's impossible? I dive deeper into the subject in this video, so you should definitely check it out. So there you have it. 7 strategies, techniques, and what have you to get out of a rut, motivate yourself and achieve your dreams, crush your enemies, and conquer the fucking world. Now, there's only one thing you need to do. Destroy the button right here and subscribe to the channel so you can become an Inerizer. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. That's it. Thanks for watching and sticking with me. I'll see you next time.